being here today to support yet another amazing conversation. And real excited to have you both again to share your expertise and experiences with career coaching. Bob Britz, founder of Ambassadors Services Group, LLC, Career Coach Services, and Natalie West, certified licensed career coach with Career Coach Services. And today's topic, we are going to dig in and discuss really fundamental ideas and discussion points surrounding passion and purpose when it comes to our careers. And so basically, the summary is and how we arrived at this conversation topic is how you can move from where you are now in a role that serves your passions and positions that will take you in and take advantage of a change in your life that will propel you forward. So, we're going to be talking about that and how we can get from point A to point B with a little on purpose work and ideas that Bob and Natalie are going to be sharing with us today. So, Bob, welcome. Natalie, welcome. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about what you do in a quick snippet, and then we'll get moving on in our conversation.
Okay, well, I'm Natalie, and I am a career coach with Career Coach Services. I also own my own business, so I work with behavior assessments as well, so it kind of partners together. Bob, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, thank you. Yeah, I'm Bob Britz. I'm the founder of Career Coach Services, and we currently have coaches in 17 states across the United States, all trained and ready to help people attack their careers in ways that actually get them a job in about 5 to 9 weeks.
Love it, love it. Well, I'm feeling really confident with my audience today and support staff and both of you. And I know that we had a pre-meeting conversation and how we're going to be sharing our expertise and also experiences with this. And I know that we all have our story and how we arrived here today and really what it is that gets us going and gets us out of bed every morning and really to create that fulfillment with our own selves to be able to share with others. So, Natalie, I love your story. I know that we had a great conversation about it, and we all decided that your story is really noteworthy and it's a great starting point. So, I invite you to go ahead and kick off our meeting and tell us all about it.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Um, my name is Natalie West. Again, I'm a career coach, and I reside in Kansas City. So I guess Missouri and Kansas you could count, Bob. So maybe 2 states.
Yep.
um, so this is where I've grown up and I've lived all of my life. And I decided in my 50s, well, when I hit 50, that I was going to do something different. I had decided that since I had worked for other people for my whole entire life, I'd been able to be pretty successful in my career. My background is accounting, and I've been working with the behavior assessments for about 20 years. So I decided it took me about 6 months to actually pull the trigger, but I decided that I was going to go out on my own because I thought, I don't want to live my life of regrets, knowing that I could go out on my own and not having to ask someone for permission to go to a dentist appointment anymore. So I have that entrepreneurial spirit that we talked about last time. But I went ahead and started my business. And as I started my business, right before COVID, I met Bob at a conference, and we were talking about what do you do? We talk about that when we're sitting next to someone. And when he was talking about career coaching, I was saying, I love helping people and I love using the assessments, and he uses the assessments as well.
Mhm.
So we decided to partner up. I'm not his partner. I just one of his coaches, but so we decided that I would go through the training for that. And as soon as we got home from that trip, he was in California, I was in Kansas City, and everything got shut down for COVID. So it's like, I was like, well, now's a great time to go through some training for some, some new opportunities. And I took very first thing I did was take his passion and purpose test. And it revolutionized my life because it helped me to see, especially if I saw it for myself, but to use with my clients, it helped me to see that some of our jobs that we don't necessarily love our jobs, people will say, oh, yeah, I wrote that on my resume, but I hated that job. Even if you hated the job, there were probably things about the job that you really loved doing. And so when we walk through this passion and purpose assessment, it's just phenomenal what it brings back to you. And it brings a sense of confidence, and it also gives us the keywords that we need to be able to write your uh, resume effectively, to make sure that we're going in the right direction. A lot of people will come and they'll say, I'm not really sure what I want to do. I had a 70-year-old man, I kid you not, that came to me, and he just didn't really know where he wanted to go. And I said to this 70-year-old man, I said, so what do you want to be when you grow up? And it just floored him. He said, that's what I think I've lost my passion for whatever it was I started with. So we went through passion and purpose, and it was just amazing. And then I found out later that he created a VTech toy when he worked for VTech, when he was earlier in his career, that every one of my grandkids has on their refrigerator. And I said, we have that toy. And he said, no. I said, yes, they all love that toy. They all have to have that toy. And so we were talking about it. And when we finished with our assessments, which we do the passion and purpose, and we also do the behavior assessments, the DISC. And when we finished those, he said, this is it. I mean, we came up with his keywords, and he said, I've been in compliance for so long, and I'm really good at compliance, that I've just made my career out of that, and I've lost my passion for creativity. And he said, that's what I want to go back to. And so it was really exciting, because when you start talking about it, and he was getting passionate, and he was bubbling up, and he was,
Yeah.
yes, talking with his hands, or maybe that's just me. But the thing is that, and see, this is what I'm passionate about. So I get passionate, and I talk louder, and I talk faster, and I get very animated, because this is what makes me go. It's so exciting to see people finally understand why they like to do things, and that it's just their bent. And so it's exciting to work with people when they are going through these transition moments, where we've all gone through transition with COVID, and with the different things that we've gone through. But sometimes it just shoves people out of their rut, and they say, you know what, I might as well try now what I want to do, see what I really want to do. Because do you want to punch a clock for the rest of your life, from 9 to 5, and go in and, just like, well, I just got to make it another 10 years. I've just got to make it another 7. And this is what I was saying yesterday. I know people who have waited till they were 65, and they dropped dead 2 days later. That's not my idea of a good
No.
retirement.
It's
You know,
true.
I want to travel. I want to see things. I want to be able to set my own schedule. I want to do things that matter, that make me feel fulfilled, that actually validate who I am. I don't want to just do that on the weekends when I volunteer somewhere. I want to do it every day in what I get paid to do. And I think that if people take the time and go through these assessments with us, it's amazing that they can really feel a confidence start oozing, and they can really start honing in, and they're like, sometimes they haven't put all the puzzle pieces together. Oh, well, our passion and purpose is a writing assessment, and they start writing about these things that they've done in their career. Some things about their personal life, maybe, but we're trying to concentrate on career. But they'll look at it and they'll say, oh, I was really good at this. I had the opportunity to, do whatever it is. And they get really excited about it. And I said, I thought you hate that job. Well, I did hate that job, but I was really good at what I did. And sometimes we forget about that when we're writing our resume. We're just like, oh gosh, what did I do at that job? And we just write it down. There's no keywords, there's no passion. So we take little parts of their life, and we decide, with them, these are your key words and these are the things that they're pointing to. Let's look for a position where you can utilize these transferable skills. And it's just amazing. It's so much fun. I actually helped a teacher transition out of classroom after 20 years. And that was really hard for her because she had uh, retirement and things like that, but it just wasn't her passion anymore.
Yeah, that
And
doesn't.
so we were able to work with her, and she was, upset, and she said, "I really feel like I have transferable skills, but I don't know how to do that." So we went through this, and we went through passion and purpose, and she was so excited. She was like a completely different person when we finished. We took all the skills that she had, we took her assessments, we combined everything, and now she is she is a process improvement engineer with Ford. And
Wow.
she's like, "Do you think I can put in for this?" Because she's looking at the job description and she says, "This is everything that I am." But she goes, "I'm not an engineer." I said, "Put in for the job. You have all of those transferable skills." She
Right.
called me in January, or she texted me one morning when I was in Florida, and she said, "I just want you to know I'm so excited I start my new job today."
Oh, that's awesome.
And yeah, and a it just makes such a difference when you're going in and you're doing something that is in your wheelhouse. You don't think that it's in your wheelhouse, you know it. And I think to know it gives you more confidence. I think you do better in the interviews, and I think that you're out the gate and you are making things happen. And I think that's exciting. I think it's exciting as a career coach. I think it's exciting as a person. But when employers look at that and they see somebody coming right out the gate, that's what they want. They want somebody who can take a hold of this. There may be a little bit of training involved in how they do their business, but at the end of the day, they want people to take ownership and they want people to love what they do. So it's exciting. The whole passion and purpose thing with Bob, I was just like, yes, yes, yes. This is it. This is the piece that I feel like I was missing. And I don't know how many other people there are that might be out there that are missing it. Bob, did you want to talk about passion and purpose and how this all came about for you?
Absolutely. It happened with me when I got fired. And honestly, I've been fired about 4 times. I've had 15 jobs in my career. If you go all the way back to my eighth grade summer, where I was a janitor at a burger restaurant for $1.60 an hour. Okay, I didn't get
Woo!
fired. I didn't get fired from that job, but I've been fired 4 times. And the last time was after I had closed a $3.3 billion deal, and they fired me the week later, and I could not believe it. And my staff, I had 185 staff in 10 states. They couldn't believe it. And then the following Tuesday, they fired the other 3 people in my role across the country. Why? They'd gone public a few quarters before and they wanted to recoup that $1 million of wages to make the stock report look better. And I thought to myself, I am not doing this anymore. This is just not going to be okay. And what happened is I was there's a friend of mine, acquaintance of mine, happened to be the CEO of Safeway stores, all of the stores. And I'd known Steve for probably 20 years, and every once in a while I'd walk up to him and say, "What are you reading?" And he would pull out a business card, and on the back he would write the different books he thought I should look at. And I looked down and I saw, this passion and purpose book. I'm like, and it was probably the most aggressive thing I ever said to him. It's like, "Why are you using this in your company?" At his level, he said, "I use it to promote my senior staff to their highest and best use of their talents." I'm like, holy smokes, I got to read this book. And so I did. And it was interesting because, people change careers 4 or 5 times in their lifetime. And not jobs, careers. When I
Mhm.
was in college and in high school, I wanted to be a chef. And I cooked all the way through college. I actually lived in a sorority house and cooked for 60 girls for 2 years while I was in college at UC Berkeley.
Wow.
Best job I ever had in my life, right?
I bet.
Um, met my wife there, had a ball. It was great and fun. But I realized that chefs came home at midnight and they oftentimes were alcoholics by the time they were 30 because of all the drinking that goes on in a restaurant and things like that. Well, I don't want to have that lifestyle for my family. So when I graduated, I went into commercial real estate, not commercial real estate, commercial insurance brokerage. I worked in that for 9 years. I was very, very good at it, and I loved it. I loved the detail of the contracts. And as Natalie will tell you about me, I am Mr. Detail. I live and love details because they make things fit for me. But I didn't want to work with my father-in-law the rest of my life. He knew too much about my finances, my family. He was making judgment calls for us that were inappropriate. I'm like, I'm done with this. So I left that and I went into technology. Okay, chef, insurance, technology, three very different careers, but all of them had some undergirding things that came with it. And in technology is where I actually left. That was my last time I got fired. And I began searching. It happens. I began searching for a new place for myself. And so Steve gave me this book, and I read it myself, and it absolutely rocked my life. Because what it does is it gives you a listing of all the things that you enjoy doing. And it puts them in order of frequency, because the more you do something, the more you enjoy it, obviously.
Mhm.
The more you write about it, the more you enjoy it. So my top four things were mentoring, coaching, cooking, and outdoors. And at the time, I was working in our church in youth ministry. I was working with high school boys, and I did it for 14 years. And I would take them out on all these outbound trips, backpacking and four-wheel driving and camping and hot tubbing, all kinds of crazy stuff. And I would cook for them. So I had everything I enjoyed: outdoors, cooking, and then the mentoring and coaching aspects. But you know what about that? It doesn't pay you anything to do that. And so I said, well, wait a minute. What can I do with the mentoring and coaching piece of this? All of my career, I have been hiring, building, and mentoring teams, enterprise engineering teams, marketing teams. And I can go back today on LinkedIn, pick any of the people I worked with. All of them are successful. Some more successful than I am as they went forward in lives because of my mentoring and my coaching. And I realized that that really was the passion that I needed to work with. And so that's when I decided to build out Career Coach. I did business coaching and I did career coaching at the same time. And of course, as you all know, in 2008 and 2009, guess what happened? Everything crashed, right? And by 2011, people had not only lost all their money, but they had lost, more importantly, their optimism. And so the business coaching element went by the wayside, and the career coaching element took forward and became what it is today. And so what this book does is it helps set the pace for you. And you work with your coach to understand what the elements are that you're writing about. The coach helps you didact out the true meanings and true elements of what you're writing about. So then you can clearly see them and then take action on them. One of the craziest things that people tell me, and I've heard this at least a dozen times, almost exactly verbatim: I have never given myself permission to look at my life this way before. It
Mhm.
is a revelation for people when they go through this process with us. Absolutely incredible. And so this, like Natalie mentions, this dovetails into the assessments we do. What's your behavior? What motivates you? What kind of tasks work for you? And with these things in hold, now we can write you a resume that really makes sense, because it's taking advantage not only of what you've done, but perhaps how you've done it, the influence you've used to bring it to bear, and how it nurtures your own personal passions and purposes. So it's been an amazing tool for us, and it's something that we have actually fostered a relationship with the author. She lives 2 hours east of us. I've had tea with her husband and talking about her book, because Amazon ran out of books. They ran
Mhm.
out of books, and it was like $10,000 for her to reproduce the book. So I said, "Look, have you ever considered making a PDF or a audio book out of this?" And she said, "Well, how do I do that?" So we helped her go to New York, get it scanned, get it brought back. Now it's up on Amazon and it's available in a PDF. She's ecstatic. We are the only other company in the world that's authorized to publish and use her book, because it's that good, and we've helped her out doing that.
That's that's really amazing. I didn't know that backstory, Bob. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
So
been
they can get this. This is really the cornerstone of your offering, really, and I can absolutely see the enthusiasm and energy and passion that Natalie brings forth, and I can only imagine your clients and working with you get and feel the same. It's contagion, right? Is that what they call it? A contagion
right.
personality, where you're not only uplifting and empowering, you know what you're doing, and you're sharing that with them, which I feel would probably give them the motivation to continue moving forward in that direction with a trusted advisor in you. So,
One small point. This is for anyone who is looking to change careers. It could be late career. I got one more hurrah I want to make. It could be someone in their 40s who is just not happy with their career. We see it a lot with early 30s where the parents have dictated what the student studies and goes into, and they get into that role and they're like, I don't care what mom and dad thinks. I need to have a better career. But the most important thing is if you already know what you do and love, that's great because we'll
Mhm.
take you from the resume forward through to finding a job in 5 to 9 weeks. That's fine. You don't have to go backwards and do this. But so many of our clients, in fact, before COVID, 60% of our clients did the whole program with us because it's just so effective.
I can only imagine. The name of the book again, Bob?
It's called Passion and Purpose. There's about 52 books out there with the same name. If you want to work with us to get a hold of that book, we're more than happy to help you do that. But it's kind of proprietary to our practice.
Oh, right. Oh, that makes sense. Excellent. So that's a nice little bonus feature to work with you and your team. That's excellent.
Right.
Okay, so is there anything more, Bob or Natalie, you wanted to add to, or if you've left out something before I share a little bit about my story and how I've arrived here? Yeah.
Yeah, I do have something. I meant to say that if anybody was interested in doing any of the behavior assessments with me, I'm willing to give a few away. I just need for you to contact me and let me know, and I'll send them over via a link, and you can take it, and I'll even give you a free debrief. So if you would like to do that, I'll do it for, let's say, the first 5 people that contact me
Right.
today. I would love to help you out with that, and that kind of gets you going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Well, I've threatened you multiple times to take this assessment, so you might
You
see
don't
me
count
in
as
your
one of the
DM.
5.
I want to be able to provide feedback, and I'm
Yes.
excited about that. And
Yeah.
so, in listening to both of you talk, what I have derived at is there's a lot of words that start with P. I've got personal, promise, pride. Oh gosh, what was the other one? Permission. And it's all with P's, and I found that really fascinating that it all encompasses what you all do in what I wrote down. I can't even read my own writing apparently, but well, thank you for sharing your story. And I know that we talked yesterday about that I would end the story on my perspective. And Bob, ironically, I started in the food and beverage hospitality industry. I sold life insurance for about a minute, and I did take the Series 7 test, which was the hardest test I've ever. I had to take it a couple times to pass it, but that was amazing. It was very boring, and I didn't care for so much of the structure. And then I got into technology as well, so maybe that's why we've stayed together for so long, all over these years.
Yeah.
So my story is a little bit different, and I know that we talk about passion and purpose in a career, and the promised land of starting your own business and going for it. Well, there's also pragmatics and reality that are involved in that. And even if, say, you're a father and you've got a young family or mom's at home still, probably not the best time to go out, strike it out on your own, and start your business. So there are a couple ideas that I have. I've had a few businesses along the way. One of my favorite was catering. I made it out of an old Airstream. I made so much money I couldn't even stuff the money in bags, and it was great. But it also required 14, 16-hour days, which is tough on a young person, let alone somebody that's trying to raise a family. So There's the word side hustle. And so for me, I loved corporate, and I miss the team. I miss the larger element of it. But like you said, Bob, I too have been robbed of the rewards of my hard work, and whether monetary or the change in procedures or processes along the way. And I said the same thing. I'm not going to ever allow this to happen to me again. So I'm going to do this. And I would say that anybody looking to go in the direction of their destiny, whether you're looking for a career or an entrepreneur situation, really to take your time and really do a business plan, because without a business plan, you've still got your bills to pay. You've still
Yeah.
got a mortgage. You still have these reoccurring costs in your life. And I really enjoyed doing a side hustle because I had the consistent element of the paycheck and the insurance, and there wasn't necessarily a conflict of interest because typically I was in a position that it wasn't going to be my passion anyway. So my passion has always been in business development and marketing, and that's where I am now. But to do a side hustle, you really have to be aware of what's at stake here. And if you want to do said side hustle, and this is really what you want to do in your life, it might take you 1 to 3 years to get to that point while you're still working as an employee. And so that in itself can give you that passion and purpose to keep grinding at the job. Maybe you're not 100% in love with it, but it can also give you that interest motivation to keep forging ahead, saving your money, really dialing in what you need to do to be prepared for the time period that you do want to launch your business. And some ideas don't succeed. That's the other aspect of this. We don't necessarily talk about it. We all want to strive and succeed,
Right.
but there's also those statistics that say I don't know what the statistics are. I'm not going to even say a number, but there are failure rates. So really take a look at what you need to accomplish in the next 1 to 5 years. And for me, I've got older teenagers that are going to be going to college here soon. And so it's time. This area in my life has been. I am going to send those kids to college, and that is my passion right now, and that is my purpose, and it drives. And so I just recommend anybody that's looking for something to do in addition to what you're doing, or have it be a goal, or that shift, whether it's early, mid, or later in life, stay with that dream and stay with that aspiration, because, just with a little proper planning and obviously some expert guidance from folks like you, that there's really anything is possible. So I love it. So we're coming down on the last couple minutes of our event here, and I just love your input and love the contributions that you've provided. And I just want to wrap it up with, if there's any questions that somebody might have, or if anybody wants to raise their hand and come on up, would love to hear from you. As Natalie mentioned earlier, as far as the complimentary assessments that you have. Bob, is there something that you wanted to add on to that before we close out?
Sure, absolutely. Natalie is the assessment queen in our company. I go to her for advice a lot. We've both been doing it a long time, but she's really got it nailed. I'm offering the passion and purpose exercise for people. It's about a $300 exercise, and the first 5 people who respond and request that will get that from me. And Natalie's offering, I don't know if you guys realize, but that's a $600 offering she's giving you for free. It's not a small deal. So if you need this kind of focus and help and drive to go forward, here's a good way to do it.
And the three of us too. I mean, this is such a wonderful symbiotic relationship and collaboration that we've had. Obviously, I'm business development and marketing, and I too help executives and folks getting back out there, and it could be a myriad of support assistance with your teams, but also our goal is to help others and to serve others in getting them to where they want to be, because of our shared experiences and our passion that we have to offer, and our expertise. Let's not forget about that. So I want to say too, you can find all three of us on LinkedIn, and underneath our profile picture pictures, you'll see a contact link or some contact information that you can follow. I know that I love personalized direct messages, DMs, and I would more than be thrilled to talk with the first one or two folks that want to reach out to me to have me take a look and see what's going on with their personal marketing and branding, because I can definitely help with that to align with the services that you offer too. So just really excited about this series. I know that we've got every 2 weeks we're doing this on Fridays at 10. We're going to stay consistent to this with some excellent topics coming up, and stay tuned for our next event that will be in 2 weeks with these very same lovely people that you see here today. And again, if you have any questions, go ahead and go to our LinkedIn pages. Would love to hear from you. Would love to hear some feedback, and would love to help support you in your career growth. So we'll see you
Thank
soon.
you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.